Hi, I'm Michael Garza, and I'll be talking about the Marshall Islands today for my Comparative Criminal Justice System course. Thank you for the course. It was fantastic. I've learned so much about everything and different countries, and I've had a great time researching everything. So when I start off with an overview of the country, the Marshall Islands are an island chain located in the Central Pacific Ocean. The islands are composed of 1,200 islands and parallel of the Coral Atoll. And Majuro is the capital of the republic, but the government offices are located in Delap. History of the islands of the United States is the United States Trust Territory of the Pacific Islands from 1947 to 1986. The native people are the Marshallese. The most popular cities are Majuro and Kwajalein, and it's populated due to the U.S. missile testing facility out there. The economy is comprised of fishing, pigs, poultry, coconuts, breadfruit, and taro. The government was established by the Constitution in 1979, which has a president and 33 members, known as the Nchalaland, and they are very fluent with traditional laws and customs. Overview of the criminal justice system. The criminal justice system is established by the Constitution, which includes the Supreme Court, High Court, Traditional Court, District Court, and a service and court staff. They all serve a purpose for a specific function, taking the descriptive approach. The one court that I do like to talk about is the Special Jurisdiction Court, consisting of 3 or more judges appointed for terms for 4 to 10 years. The jurisdiction of the traditional right courts is limited to questions relating to titles and land rights. Due to the islands being a chain and limited on land, it's very important to have this type of court in their law system, so they can make sure that the land is shared property and they don't have any disputes with the land. The High Court judge certifies the substantial questions within the jurisdiction of the traditional rights courts. The Constitution states that High Court is given to decisions of the traditional right courts substantial weight, and they're not binding unless the High Court concludes that the justice is required. So it's very important to understand that the High Court does have a say in it, but the traditional court holds its decision for the land rights. The structure of the judicial system, criminal justice system, is the Supreme Court, High Court, Judicial Service Commission, Traditional Rights Courts, District Courts, Community Courts, and the Office of the Clerk of the courts. So they're distributed properly and in order and in a branch system. Next is the overview of the country's approach to juvenile delinquency. It was very important that I saw this and read this because there's some similarities and some distinctive differences with the United States and the juvenile courts of the islands. So the High Court oversees the juvenile delinquency courts. They're governed by the Article, Section 1-2 of the Constitution and Section 18, 1983-18. There are 9 rules in the juvenile delinquency: nature and purpose, construction, commerce and proceedings, parties, counseling, hearings, court decisions, and amendments of orders and forms. The nature and purpose of juvenile delinquency proceedings are in a class by themselves and considered a closed hearing. Natural of the proceedings to help the child become a good member of the community. The proceedings are not in the manner of prosecutions, but as a question as A, whether the child is delinquent as defined in the Title 15, Section 2 of the Trust Territory Code, the cause of the delinquency, if any, what should be done to help the child become a good member of society. The High Court, however, may order refer cases involved alleged juvenile misconduct to a lower disposition court, a lower court where the misconduct allegedly would be there. So the High Court can delegate the case to a lower court for the juvenile. The Marshall Islands look at the juveniles as somebody that the delinquency of the child or the juvenile to they want them to become a functioning member of society and to bring them back in. So they work really hard to get them back to being in good graces with the government of the cities. Next is similarities between the Marshall Island criminal justice system and the U.S. system. U.S. law guides and influences Marshall Islands law and practices. Both criminal justice systems are built within the construct of the Constitution and are modeled under the Constitution as the United States. The island has a close connection to the state of Delaware and has courts that are also similar to the courts of Delaware corporate law. Marshall Island attorneys are bound by the American Bar Association model of rules and professional conduct, and the Marshall Islands rule of civil of professional conduct, and model after the United States rule of civil procedure. So they do have a lot of similarities due to obviously the U.S. being part of the Marshall Islands for a long time. So they definitely have a different type of criminal justice system, even though that they do have a parliament system and their constitution does mirror the United States, but is slightly different. Areas of the country, criminal justice system, do I think if the Marshall system is imperfect or nearly perfect? And I think it's kind of perfect, nearly perfect, due to the fact that even though the United States has its issues, the United States has a really good justice system, a good law model. But the Marshall Islands have a little bit difference, and I think I like how they tweaked it for the fact that with the juvenile delinquency courts, where they are looking to help the child in different ways so they can be model citizens. They really help get them into society, and they have them become better citizens of their country, so they can be functioning adults when they become adults in their life. So I think that the way that they have it with the high courts being just below the Supreme Court was very important. It's almost that buffer between the states or the cities and the traditional courts. So it's a buffer before the Supreme Court, and it helps them make bigger decisions in a smaller area, so the Supreme Court doesn't have to get involved. So I'll have my references in there. I have about 7 references, and thank you very much.